Welcome to the Daily Dev Talk with me, Adrian Nantchev, where we explore and share experiences, stories and lessons 7 days a week from across the games industry, helping you make the best game you can. Stay tuned for today's episode. Good morning, Overload Nation. Welcome to another episode of the Daily Dev Talk, talking to game developers from across the world to bring you experiences, stories and lessons 7 days a week. Today, I'm joined with Nichols Nesbitt from the studio of Paradox Loop Games to talk about their first game, Nano Puzzle. Nicholas, tell us about yourself first and how you got into the games industry.
Well, I'm 21. I kind of always liked developing games. I actually started this game particularly a long time ago, but then I took a recess when I went to college. So this is just me finally getting it out there kind of thing. So I just always found it interesting, and I kind of always liked making games.
All right, so you just got into it for a labour of love then. Got into making games for a labour of love.
Yeah, it's something I enjoy. It's definitely fun for me.
And have you worked on many games before at all?
Uh, I worked on some games in college as like college group projects and stuff like that. But when I originally started this game, I hadn't worked on anything yet, and then I finished it after college, so I had both both times I had like experience without a team and then experience with team. So it was kind of, bringing both aspects to it.
Mm-hmm. And when roughly did you graduate from college?
I graduated May of 2014 from an
Oh, that's pretty cool. Just about two months before I did, because I graduated from university in July a year ago. So that's pretty cool. So tell me about Paradox Loop Games. How many people is it? What's the structure? So on and so forth.
Well, it's kind of a out of the home kind of business thingy. I am currently the only member, but I was actually talking to some people to get sort of a team going for my next, like the next game that I want to do is going to be like a bigger game, since the only games I've done so far are by myself. Uh, and that's, yeah, I wanted to make something with a team next.
So that's a goal for after this game, don't you think? For
Yeah,
the future.
yeah, definitely the future. Not sure how soon or that's going to be, but
That's cool. So let's talk about Nano Puzzle. Tell me about the game and what you wanted the player to experience.
well, it's a game where you play as a little nano robot and you solve puzzles. There's no real storyline to it. It's just kind of like solving puzzles. It starts with some tutorials, and then it goes to uh, some just general puzzles, and then there's some bonus maze levels that I threw in there. What I wanted the player to experience was just a good puzzle game that was, somewhat challenging that and yet, entertaining.
Hmm. Challenging and entertaining. Cool. So, how did you go about promoting the game, and what worked and what didn't work?
Well, I have a Facebook, so I put that I actually have a game on Facebook and that people could um, talk to me about getting it. That really didn't work too well because the only people that actually found out about it were my friends, and most of them had already played it. So I put it on Steam, and when I put it on Steam, I got a whole bunch of people who told me, "Oh, you should do this, you should do that," and I didn't have a video at first, so I got a lot of no's for putting on Greenlight simply because I didn't have a video yet, and I guess I just had to overcome that.
Hmm. So, okay, then I'm curious. How did you go about funding the game? What worked and what didn't work so well?
Well, the funding I did put into it was buying Steam Greenlight, and that was just out of my own pocket. Other fundings, I didn't really put anything else into it, so I didn't put a whole lot of money into this game because I didn't really have the money for it.
Okay, that's interesting. So, how did you go about QAing the game and getting feedback from it, aside from a Steam community?
I did have a couple of friends kind of beta test play it, um, and they did say it was challenging, and they did say they liked it. Although I don't know if they gave me the bad feedback either, but you know, friends will be friends.
hmm I see. And I'm curious then, what was cut from the game and why?
Well, I did have some other levels, but I ended up kind of putting them all together into one group instead of having them separate groups, and then I cut the levels that weren't necessarily puzzles, um, and I only kept the ones that were puzzles and mazes. So there were some that weren't either of those categories, but I cut them.
hmm
And the main reason I cut them was just because they didn't really add any value to the game.
That's the key word, isn't it? Value. If it doesn't add value, then people aren't gonna want to play it
Right,
or pay for it.
right.
So, what was the biggest thing you learned while working on the game?
Uh, I think the biggest thing I learned is to, you know, keep keep going, trying to figure out what you can do better with the game, trying to learn from whatever it is you can. Like my my not putting a video up with the original greenlighting it, that could have been avoided if I had known to put a video up right away.
hmm that makes sense. I can imagine that I wouldn't feel the same about a Greenlight project if there was no video. I can
Right.
think it'll be like, oh, it's just pictures, or even worse, it's just drawings and concept art, and it's like there's nothing really here. It's just move on or something. I can sympathise with that. So, what was the worst thing that happened, and how did you overcome it?
Well, that actually was probably the worst thing is that I
No
got
video.
because I had no video, I got 83% no votes like right away kind of thing. And then
Wow.
and then I also work, um I also have a day job, so this is kind of my side project. But when I actually managed to get back onto Steam, it had been like 2 days. So by the time I did get a video on there, I only got some yeses from the people that actually kept in touch with the game, but those who decided not to keep in touch with it, their no's still lingered. So
Wow.
I did put up a video, and I did actually put up a better video after that video. So I have a really nice video. I think it's a better video, but I haven't had a whole lot of people looking at the game since the video was up. So
Hmm.
I still have a lot of lingering no's, but
Well, that's all right. You're tackling them one by one.
yeah, yeah.
So, what was the best game dev purchase you made? Whether it was a software license, a top quality piece of hardware or equipment, or simply a comfortable chair and a good desk?
Um, I'm gonna say the best thing I bought was probably my education, honestly. Before I went to college, this game had so many bugs and I didn't even realize it. And
hmm
after I went to college and I sat back down and looked at this game, I was honestly surprised that I even managed to make it work. It was kind of sad.
hmm
But yeah, I did. I just kind of fixed this game, and then I actually have a second game that's in beta. I did mention that to you, but I won't talk about it. But the second game that is in beta right now, I actually rebuilt from the ground up simply because it was so buggy. Um, yeah, it was just.
Wow, so the education revolutionized the entire process. You went from, I don't know, bug full to bugless.
Well, I sure hope it's bugless. Yeah.
hmm So, what game dev related book, lecture, or learning resource can you recommend?
uh, well, if you, I don't know if anyone's ever told you about, let's see what was it called, code. That's not. Um, this is the what games. Okay. There's quite a few college books I could recommend. I don't know the names of them off the top of my head, though. I know there's one about like AI. It's actually somewhat popular if you've actually gone to college, you probably read it, but it talks about how to develop a good AI, and I really liked that book for that reason.
Do you not remember the name or the author or anything of the sort?
I can actually find out in just a sec here. It is called Artificial Intelligence: A Modern Approach, and it's by Stuart Russell and Peter Novick. Novick.
Okay, AI, modern approach, sounds cool. So, like an Evernote or Trello, do you have a useful or productivity enhancing software, app, extension, or website worth sharing?
CodeAcademy.com is one that I learned during my college days. It allows you just to learn about certain programming languages. So if you know certain languages and you want to know another one, you can kind of get a crash course into it with that website. Also, if you're looking for, whether your game idea is any good or it needs changing at all, Newgrounds does have a huge community of people that you can probably post in one of their forums somewhere your idea, and then you can get feedback on it and see whether it's a viable idea or not.
Interesting. Newgrounds and codeacademy.com. Code Academy sounds familiar, actually. That sounds like have you heard of a website called Khan Academy?
I have not.
Okay, Khan Academy covers programming as well as loads of other subjects like economics, mathematics, science, history, and such. All like just through videos and just rather for free. Code Academy just reminded me of that. So it's just, hey, small world. So Nicholas, what advice can you give to aspiring game developers, small indie studios, and people trying to get to where you are today?
Don't give up. Like, if you have an idea that you really like, definitely consider the feedback you're getting, but don't necessarily scrap it unless you obviously stopped liking the game for some reason. But don't give up on something, even if it's something you might necessarily not know what to do with next.
Yeah, I agree with that. Cool. Yeah, I have a few ideas and just a little underdeveloped. So yeah, I'm not giving up on them. So what is next for you, and what's the best way to contact you?
Best way would probably be just my email that is for the actual studio, paradoxloopgames@gmail.com. And then I am going to get Nano Puzzle on Steam. That's my goal right now. And then my next goal is going to get my second game on Steam as well. And then I'm going to work on the team project after that. And that is my goals for right now.
Cool. Well, Nicholas, it appears we're out of time for this episode of the Daily Dev Talk. It was great talking to you, and it's very worthwhile for the future knowing then to have a video on Steam Greenlight.
Yes, very much.
People talk about learning from mistakes. Nothing wrong with people learning from other people's mistakes.
Right.
So I wish you well on the Nano Puzzle and this other game that's yet to come out. It was great talking to you.
It was a pleasure talking to you too.
So stay tuned, Overload Nation. More Daily Dev Talks to come. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Daily Dev Talk with me, Adrian Nantchev. If you are a game developer that wants to get your name and game out there and to share your experiences and stories, or you have feedback or opinions of the show, then contact me at info@gameoverload.co.uk. That's info@gameoverload.co.uk. Stay tuned for tomorrow's episode. More to come.